Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a great day so far. My morning's been pretty good. Unity took longer than normal to start up, so I apologize for that. Let's adjust my webcam a bit. Oh, it looks better. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, and I'm still dealing with a cold a little bit, so again, apologize for stuffy nose, but at least I haven't been coughing as much. But anyway, so today what I want to do is start implementing different types of terrain art. For a long time we basically just had colored checkerboards and it doesn't look that good. So I want to try to implement, in this base version, we'll have dirt, stone, and grass terrain. And my idea is keeping with the art style of the monsters. All of them will just kind of have flat colors, but we'll add a gradient, I think, with the depth darkening, and also we'll have little models that will spawn on top of them, like pebbles for on the stone and little sprigs of grass, or maybe a flower or something. Well, it can't be too... Well, we'll see, because the scale of this game is that they're supposed to be like Godzilla sized, so yeah, we gotta keep that in mind. Okay, but first what I think I'll do is I'll enlarge the map a little bit so we have a little more area to play with. And right now I just have a checkerboard, or actually it's just a stripe. But I think what I'll actually do, I want to have like areas of just a flat... What am I trying to say? I think what I'll do is I'll have a quadrant each of just one terrain type, and then we'll have another one where they kind of blend together. So let's see. Gotta get back into Lua mode. It does for loops differently than C#, obviously. Yeah, and again, sometime I want to come back and update this map generation script, but we'll wait to do it. Because, yeah, this, well, it's not too bad, but some of the way that this script is ran is a little different than everything else, so I want to try to unify everything. Do lowercase to keep it consistent. Okay, so this will be the first chunk. Will be, I guess let's do dirt. And then if we scoot over 4 columns, this will be the stone. Oh, what's going on? There we go. The stone chunk. And then we'll have a grass chunk. And then the last one will alternate. So we see +4, and then row +4. And how will I do this? Okay, let's see. So local mix index is, I guess, C plus row times 4, and then we'll want to modulo this by 3. Actually, I don't think Unity or Lua has a modulo operator, if I remember correctly. Let's not be too lazy, and I'll just have terrain types is dirt, stone, and grass. I guess we could even do it this way. Terrain types 0. And then Unity, you can use its hash symbol to get the size of a list. Or not Unity, I keep saying Unity, it's Lua. Okay, so then this would just be terrain types mix index. I guess I still need that. Okay, and let's not worry about altitude for now. I think I'll get rid of all this extra stuff because we're not going to use it. Alright, so if I play now, it's going to complain that the grass block prototype doesn't exist. Oh yeah, and then we get an actual error because, yeah, the map loading is messed up right now, but attempt to call a nil value at 14. That's different than I would have thought. Okay, what is... This math mod must not be correct. The Lua modulo. Okay, no, it is just the... Let me make sure. Yeah, Lua supports addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo. Okay. So I had it backwards. It actually has more than normal. Object reference not sent to an instance of an object. Okay, yeah, this is all messed up. It says no block prototype registered. Probably this prototype string was null. But if that's true, shouldn't it just be set to... Oh, you know what? I think it's because I'm indexing with 0 here, so I need to add 1 to that. Okay, that didn't fix it. I guess I should make sure that the... This isn't null, so let me see. If block, or wait, if string is null or empty, block dot prototype. Then why don't we just set that to be empty? I thought I did that already, that it defaulted to this. Oh, that'll be fine for now. Okay, yeah, now it's saying no block prototype called grass. Yeah, that's what we're waiting on. Although I still don't know how this prototype is getting set to null. Oh, I'm indexing it with 0 here. That should be 2. Alright. What am I trying to do? Oh, right, I need to create the grass prototype, so I'll go into this block prototypes and just add a third one here. And it'll just be a copy of stone for now because I don't have any art for grass, obviously. Except, let's make the height map lower. I guess we'll be able to tell a little bit of difference. Right, so now it loads. Okay, so I think obviously this was dirt. And then this one's stone because it's bumpier than this section, which would be grass when we get actual art. And then this is the blending of it. It's a interesting pattern. I kind of wanted it to be offset so that, well, it's okay because I'll still have like one of each because it'll have stone on that side, grass on that side. But there's not going to be any triple points, is there? Let me see, how can I... Obviously it's kind of hard to tell because dirt and grass look the same right now. But if I just add dirt again right here, I think I might get a pattern that's more what I was expecting, or more that I was visualizing. Okay, still not exactly. I might have to just build this one by hand. Because what I wanted was for there to be like grass, stone, and dirt all together so we could test the triple point, but I won't worry about that too much for now. Alright, so let's see. Let's make some Just test art for now. Don't really have to do it in Inkscape because it's going to be a flat color, I think. Right, let's pull up a sprite. Okay, yeah, let's just use these colors that are here. So let's do that for dirt. And let me save them. Mod assets, textures. Do I want to make like a terrain folder? I don't know. Okay, and then this will be the dirt color. Right, and so grass, let's just pick, let's do something a little darker. Oh, well, it's still color, but it's not dirt. And then stone. Alright, so if I go back to the mod assets, still I won't need these, but let's... Okay, this is like for testing. Still want the distortion and the height noise, so I'll move those in the terrain, but these I won't need anymore. Let's make 3 copies of this. So this will be dirt height. And then grass height. And stone height. And I think they could all just share this distortion map. But anyway, so these 3 I need to... Yeah, it's sRGB. Well, it doesn't really need a map because it's the same color, but... Let me see. Yeah, it has a different format. Alright, so these I need to take out of the asset bundle. And all of these I need to put in the asset bundle. And use them here. So this new texture will be dirt color. And then dirt height. Everything else can be the same. Okay, so let's... Well, before I build it, I already know that there might be one problem. So let me look. When we load it, I have to make sure that the textures are the right format. I have a terrain loader, don't I? Oh yeah, block prototype organizer, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so where do I make the texture array? Oh, right here. Okay, so the format, this is what I was looking for. It's RGB 24. That's okay, but we can use this as a more compressed version. That's what this is by default. Okay, yeah, the colors don't need to be read and write enabled, but the height maps need to be. Okay, so I think everything's good here. Let's rebuild the asset bundles. Done already? I'm gonna say that was quick, but no, it's still thinking. Okay, so I want to show and explore. I don't need to get the streaming assets, which is where I'm placing the mod files to be loaded for now. But here is where the asset bundles are created. So I could just move this into there. And we can look in this manifest to see what files are included. And we can see the textures are in there, as well as some of the audio and stuff. Okay, object must be activated. Oh, this is still one of those error problems. Dark color is not the required dimensions. Texture width. Oh, I see. So we just define the texture in the framework. I forgot about that. Well, since it's a flat color, it can be much smaller. Okay. Yeah, so now we could differentiate between the 3 different train types. Yeah, and it's a bit boring. So, I mean, one thing you could do is actually add a texture to this color. I mean, that's kind of the point of it, but it doesn't really go with the style of the monsters. Because there's no real pattern on them. All it is a gradient. And the colors change only on the edge boundaries on the actual mesh. So I kind of want to keep the terrain with the same style. I mean, the shading given by its the ambient lighting does add a little bit of interest to it, but if you look straight down, you can't see it a whole lot. So what I'd like to do is somehow have the shader darken the color as when it's deeper in the bump. So we could either have the shader read the height maps directly and then darken the color that way, or we could have the train mesh itself pass each vertex's depth to the shader, and then it could darken it that way. I don't know which one would be better. Well, if the train tried to read the height maps, or if the shader was going to have to read the height maps, we'd need to create another texture array. Which we could do, but it sounds more complicated than just passing the depths for each vertex. And I don't want to just use the global height because, like, when we have different heights for the actual blocks, I don't want the ones that are lower to be really dark. I just want the indentions in the terrain to actually be dark. If that makes sense. Okay, so let's, well, first I'll go to the terrain shader and we'll figure out what data I need to pass around. So yeah, nothing there. It'd be the terrain material lighting. And basically when we do this get albedo, we'll also need to multiply it by some darkening value that's passed in per vertex. And luckily we still have plenty of text chords, so it's not really going to be that big of a deal to add this. So let's call it... This can go in text chord 2. I don't know if I can pass a single float in a text chord. We'll see. Probably is better if I just do a float 3. One nice thing about this, well, we could actually pass this through in the terrain blend. Although what I was going to say is that since we're only using one value here, we would have 2 or even 3 if we use the alpha channel, different values that we could encode in the same variable for like specular information. But I don't even know if specular would look good on terrain. But I guess we could go ahead and include that. So, I don't know, let's see. And we would just, in the vertex program, we would just pass this through. Okay, so let's say that we just take the terrain colors and multiply it by the light info dot red. Let's not try to get fancy here. Okay, and then we'll return the terrain color times light info dot red. And then we'll use the green to multiply the specular strength, and then the blue to multiply the specular size. Because I could see that at least stone having a specular highlight. I don't know if we'll use a specular offset, but if we did, we could use the alpha channel. Okay, so now I don't think anything will... Okay, it does broke. Or break. Cannot convert from constant float 3 to float 4. Okay, why is it... I thought that these were all float 3 already, and that was the point of them. We don't care about the alpha. Oh, I see. Well, I guess in case... yeah, in case we ever do have semi-transparency, I guess I should support float 4, but... Okay, but here we still don't care about the alpha. And we'll just... float 4. Oh, why did it delete the return there? Then we'll just give alpha as 1. That should fix... Oh. Oh right, I didn't change this. There we go. Now when I press play, there shouldn't be any errors, but all of the terrain will be pitch black, I think. I guess it'll depend on what the default value is. Now that's interesting. Why is only the dirt black? Okay, I guess it's because I don't actually initialize the UVs, so it just has like dummy information in it. I don't know. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So the visible mesh, we'll just need to add another thing here. So list vector 3, light info builder. Okay, and so I'll set UVs to... So if I do this, now I'll initialize that set of UVs, so hopefully there won't be any junk data in it. I'm guessing that's what was going on. Okay, so let's text score 2. What am I trying to do? Yeah, I want to go back here. And so now I just need to put something into that light info for each vertex. And we'll just do new vector 3, 1, 0, 0. Okay, so now it looks back to normal. Okay, let's see what. Well, there's no way I can. I was gonna say it'd be nice if I could set this light info to be shiny or stone, but there's no way to really do that here. Okay, so we're gonna wade back into the terrain generation just for a bit. I don't think it'll take too long. But I just need to have another list. Well, I guess we'll do float, heights. Let's call it occlusion height. And then I guess I'll need to have some more info for the specular. Float. Specular strength. Okay, so now that we have those two, I can go back to the visible mesh system, and this will be like 1 minus. But I guess it depends how I want to store the occlusion. Okay, I'll just do it raw like that, and whoever the logic decides to store the occlusion will just pass it straight through. For the specular, I think I'll just pass that through as well. Is that... yeah, that's the strength, and so the size will be... I don't know. I'm not sure what to put, so we'll just put some constant value for now. 25. Okay, I'll just put... yeah, we'll just put 1, and then we can fine-tune this value in the material. Alright, so now I need to, in the position generation, we need to add these occlusions. So yeah, basically it'd just be when we set the point, whatever this height would be, this bump size. Is that in world position or what? Okay, so this week gives us a value between -1 and 1. Okay, but the thing is we need this raw value because that's going to be what the occlusion is. Okay. Private void. Oh no, not void. Float. Get bump height. Do I use this already? I have this get bump size. Maybe I should change this to, I don't know, bump value or something. And then this will be the actual height. So basically we'd be past this value. So float raw value. And would return the raw value times 2 minus 1 to convert it between -1 and 1, and then we'd multiply it by this height map bump length. Oh, but we'd also need to have 3 versions of this to lerp between the different prototype values. Or, I guess not really. You could just have float world height. Now, okay, I wonder if we average this bump value before multiplying the height, will that change the actual value? Or that mess up the average? I'm afraid of this -1. Okay, so maybe this raw needs to go ahead and convert it to this value. And then when we figure out the occlusion, we could just reconvert it after it's been averaged. Oh yeah, so I might not need that after all. So the bump size would just return. Yeah, let's rename this to bump raw. Well, it's not raw anymore because we're gonna already multiply it. Convert it from between being 0 to 1 to -1 to 1. And now I don't really need this other function because we're just going to multiply the world length by the value, so get rid of that. And I'll leave this as a comment just so I know what's going on, but we'll actually just return that. Okay, so here we'll need the float bump value equals get bump value. And then, so for the position, it's pretty simple. Times the prototype height map bump length. Okay, and then when we want to do the occlusion, it will just be section dot occlusion height point equals bump value, and so I want to convert it back between 0 and 1. So I would divide it by 2 and add 1. Okay, so I've kind of got to do this for all of them, except we'll have to linearly combine the height, these bump height lengths as well. So let's just disregard this for now. Okay, so this is proto A, proto B, and lerp. And then we'll need to lerp between the two height maps here. And then the occlusion height is the same. Okay, let's actually pull this out here. So height multiplier is triangle average of the different prototypes bump heights. And then we would just multiply those two together right here, and then the occlusion is still the same. Okay, so now I just need something to... Oh, hey, Ice Boy. How are you doing today? Glad you could make it again. But yeah, now I just need a script to create the specular highlight data. Let's just call it specular info, or I don't know, specular generation system. Oh, glad to hear you're doing pretty well. Same here, still getting over the cold. But really, it's just is like, this is stuffy nose at this point. I haven't really been coughing much today, thankfully. Okay, so this is gonna be pretty simple. Which is the easiest one to copy? Maybe the... I thought there was one that didn't... Oh yeah, the normals. Okay. That's what I had originally, but... Because this one doesn't care about the section type. Although I will need the game database here because I'll need to access the block prototypes. Oh, that's not what I want. And I guess since I have to get the block prototype, I'll also need the battle so I can get actually what prototype is in what position. Alright, and so, okay, I'm gonna have to create another little state here. So this will be state specular. And wherever this is initialized, I need to be sure to also set it to waiting because I had that problem last time we were doing this. And I guess the visual mesh system will also need to wait for the specular system to finish. Okay, so I'm not gonna touch the normals. This will just be the specular strength. Oh, did I use the wrong thing? No, that's right. Oh, it's not a vector 3, it's just a float. Oh, where'd that extra thing come from? And don't need to do that. Really? I don't need an extra function here, I don't think. So we just need to get the block prototype. Okay, well it does matter because we're gonna have to blend actually, I just realized. So it will be different depending on what type of section we're on. And if we're gonna have to blend, then that means that we need to know. Okay. Now this is actually part of the positioning system. Okay, well let's not worry about it right now, actually, because... I'm just gonna do something simple where I'd make the faces of the stone shiny. Well, I guess I can still do that. I mean, obviously, if I actually like the look of this, I'll need to come back and make it blend in the margins, but... Yeah, I'm not really sure how the specular highlight will look on terrain anyway, so. This would be battle.board section board index, and then if I'm just gonna hard code this in for now. Block prototypes, block proto ID dot name is stone. Then we'll set the section dot specular strength. Oh yeah, I have to do it for each point. Specular strength I is, I don't know, 1. Let's just set it that for now. Ate one of the braces there, I don't know what was going on. Okay, so this should work fine. It'll be an interesting experiment to see how it looks. I do that every time. Systems, add new specular generation system. Okay, so now, well, it'll be interesting to see how everything looks. So we should get specular highlights and darkening. But we got an error instead, so let's look at that. It says this is null, so that means the occlusion height hasn't been created yet, but I thought... Oh, I see. Yeah, I do this for each type, but I really should do it up here because the number of points is already known at this point. So section.numPoints. Okay. Oh, something else. Oh no, it's still compiling. Uh-oh. It's frozen somewhere. Oh, I bet I know what happened. I think in the specular system I forgot to... Yeah, it's still setting normals to complete. But it's actually... should be specular state. Also, this doesn't really... Yeah, it can run immediately. It doesn't care about anything before it. For now, anyway. I guess I should have... Yeah, it needs to actually only run if specular is waiting. Okay, so let's go back. Otherwise it's gonna keep running forever. So if section.specular... Oops. Specular state is waiting. Yeah, because once it's already calculated once, it doesn't need to run again, so... That is pretty important. Okay, so yeah, we're starting to get some variation there. I don't know if I like how it looks though. I think it just goes too dark. . maybe. Yeah, it's a little better here. But also, do I get any specular at all on the stone? Doesn't look like it. Oh, I think it's because on the material I still have the specular to 0. So if I go to the terrain and turn this up. Okay, yeah, there is still some. But yeah, I don't really know. The specular doesn't really look that good on the terrain, I don't think. We would want something like very small. What? So even when I set the size to 0, it's still there? Doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, because the size... Okay, so it actually gets smaller... Or no, it's... Okay, so if I want to make it smaller, I need to really increase the value of this. But yeah, the specular just doesn't look that good on terrain because it's too flat. I guess if I lowered the strength, it's a little better. I was thinking for like ice terrain, whenever I get to that, we'd want to have some kind of specular highlight, but probably the ice will be handled differently anyway. Okay, yeah, so that is a no. Okay, so... I mean, it's not bad, but I think it might be... It'd be nice if I could specify a gradient so that it could make this be like darker blue instead of just plain black. But the other way I could think of to do that would be to lerp between two different values here. Or like two different textures, and then I'd have to get another texture array. So I'm kind of trying to avoid doing that. But I think I might. Yeah, because like it's just this lerping between the points just doesn't look that good. Let me see. Go into the scene. You can't really tell because of the wireframe. But I wonder if it's the colors or if it's the method I use. I don't know if it'll be easy to tell. Okay, but I don't think I'll write off the whole system. It looks a lot better for the dirt, so maybe it is just the colors. And also that it's not quite so bumpy. Let's see. Okay, so before I add this, because I was thinking that maybe we could have like an occlusion max darkness. But before I add this to the block, it's like the block data, I'm just gonna try and hard code it in and see how it looks. So what? Yeah, position gen, and I'll just do it for this set point. Well, if I'm gonna do this, I should probably make a function to take care of it. So private void, get occlusion, float, bump height. I'll call it bump value. I think the best thing is if I could somehow get the shaders to sample this height map. Also, you know, I think about it, if I did that, I could have the shaders perturb the mesh itself based on the height map, and then I wouldn't have to figure it out here in code, but I don't know. Well, no, that probably wouldn't be good, because then each vertex would have to read from up to 3 different terrain. Anyway, let me see, what was I doing here? So I want to make it so that the darkest value is, I don't know, let's just go down to 0.75 in the occlusion. So this bump value goes between -1 and 1. So when I do this, I make it go between 0 and 1. So I'd like it to be kind of an arbitrary value. So float, let's just do this private const float min occlusion is 0.75. Okay, so this will be value between 0 and 1. I don't know if that's going to be helpful that much. Oh yeah, that will be good. So this will be bump value divided by 2 plus 1. Okay. So kind of what I want to do actually is like negate this, multiply, like, that's kind of hard to explain. Let's see. If I do it like this. I don't really know how to name these variables. But what I'm going to do is like figure out, like if this is 0, then I'd want to multiply, like negate 1 by the total difference here, so that when bump value is 0, we'd get 0.75, but when bump value is 1, we'd get 1. So I think a way to do that, let me see, so 1 minus min occlusion times 1 minus value between 0 and 1. So this would be like multiplying 0.25 times 1 will give 0.25. So that means at 0 we would get 0.25, and then when bump value is 1, we would get 0 here. And so then I think I could just return 1 minus the fraction. So when bump value is 0, let's run through this. We'd want to return min occlusion. So when bump value is 0, we would get, oh wait, when bump value is -1, then this would turn into 0. And then so we'd get 1 here and 0.75 or 0.25 here. So that'd be 1 minus 0.25, which would give us min occlusion. And then when bump value is 1, then we want to return 1. So yeah, this would give us okay, wait. So if bump value is 1, then when we subtract or divide by 2 and then add 1, then we get, maybe that was the problem. We should actually add 1 first and then divide. Yeah, because this will give us 2 divided by 2. So if this is 0, then that would give us 1 divided by 2, which is... Oh, wait. I keep doing it wrong. If this is -1, this will give us 0 divided by 2, which is 0. Okay, so maybe that was the reason for the weird math, is I did this conversion wrong. Anyway, so this should be get occlusion. We can just pass the bump value. I guess this will be, if I do have it on a per block basis, a max occlusion, this will be another thing that we need to lerp between. Alright. Okay, that does look a little better, although yeah, there's just not that much difference. I probably shouldn't worry too much because a lot of the charm of the terrain is going to be... Like, we don't want it to be too flashy because then it'll take away from the monsters, but I think when I add little decoration models, it will look better as well. But I think that did look a lot better. One thing I could do is, instead of trending towards black, I could actually use the occlusion to lerp towards the ambient color. That would at least give a better shadow. Maybe I'll do that. So terrain mesh. Oh, I want the shader, which is not open anymore. Okay, I forget where to get the ambient color. Okay, so it's Unity Ambient Sky. Okay, so to do that, instead of just multiplying the color by the light info, we'd get float 3, occlusion would be lerp terrain color, and then terrain color times the ambient sky, and then we'd lerp with this occlusion value. Okay, let's look at that. Probably will be too subtle to actually see a real difference, but I don't know, I think it looks better. Although, oh, I think I did it backwards. Let's see, because if I change this ambient color. Okay, one problem is that the ambient color is kind of bright. That's because I use it to do the rim lights. Alright, so I guess I just need a different color here. Well, since this is on the shader itself, I think I can just declare a color. in the material properties. So this will be, let's call it occlusion color. And this should be a float 3. And then I'll need to declare it on the terrain shader. Okay, and this will just be occlusion color. And I guess we'll start with 0, 0, 0, 0. Or the alpha doesn't matter, but... Okay, no errors there. So if I go to the terrain mesh, it should show up on the material properties. Oh, I gotta get out of the lighting mode. So let's just make it a really dark blue. Well, actually, let's make it something very obvious. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think it's still backwards. I forgot to change that. Material lighting. Oh yeah, here it is. So I need to change it so that, yeah, when light info is 0, we use this first value. So I need to actually multiply the first value instead of the second one. Oh, you got a shield ice boy. You got everything now. Now you just gotta pick your actual character once you get the coins. Or you can stay with the little battery. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, well we can see a little bit of red. But the reason it's not that noticeable is because the minimum occlusion is 0.75. I have to say that actually looked pretty good with the occlusion color being red, which is a little strange to me. So if I change this minimum occlusion to 0, it should be a lot more noticeable. Yeah, so I think it's working as intended. Obviously the colors don't look that good right now, but... Alright, so now, well, I guess I didn't have to turn it off. I could just change the color here. Alright, so let's try to get something more final. Yeah, I definitely want it to be pretty blue instead of just black. I think no matter what I choose, it's going to be too, dark right now just because the occlusion goes all the way to 0. Let's try something like that. And then I'll set the minimum occlusion here back to 75. Alright, it's starting to look better. It's a little bit of variation. Let's see if I change this. Yeah, it does update, but it's not much of an effect, obviously. I could put the minimum occlusion value here in the shader. Although then I wouldn't be able to let it be per terrain. I don't know. Well, we can leave it the way it is now. It's no big deal. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about the colors just yet because I still need to go back and update or finalize the Egg Dino's colors too. But I think I want to wait until I've got a little bit more interest on these terrain types. I should write a note so I don't forget. Let's just add another thing here for monsters. Oh, I'm trying to... I guess that's the minimum tab. So finalize colors on Egg Dino. I'm still not sure if I want to touch up the model or not. Like I said, I want the... If I had the chance to redo it, I'd make the egg have a lot more edges in it, but I'm pretty happy with the rest of it, actually. Alright, so let's start making some... or placing some models on the terrain, I think. Let's start here. I'll make just a little sphere. It doesn't need a collider. And this will just be a dirt pebble, I guess. The material should be... Actually, before I go any further, I need to really clean up this. Let's see. Do I want to just put the material into the shader folder? Well, no, because I got quite a bit here, actually. You can get rid of this, though, and that one. Some of this is just testing. Not really a mod asset, it's part of the base game. I'll just call it... yeah, materials is fine. And then I'll just put all this in there. Create folder. Test. And then these are all like not final, so... Well, the Toon Dino, this is actually... yeah, part of that Egg Dino's model. I have... Oh, is this even used anymore? They're pretty much identical. I think this is what the Egg Dino prefab uses. Where is it? I can look in here. It uses Egg Dino material. Okay, so this one is not needed. Okay. But then, yeah, this shader, our material is not part of any mod because it's just a default material. And I'll probably change all these ramps at some point. I think I already have a note to do that. And lighting. Anyway, what I was gonna do, I just need to assign some kind of material here. So I'll just create a simple one real quick. I'll just call this white tune material, and it'll just be oh yeah, it's still using the standard shader. And for the texture, I'll just use this white texture I already have. Specular can be default. Alright, that looks good for now. And basically what I want to do is just have a little test thing here so I can see, like, well, I guess we'll need some model to actually create onto the, our spawn onto the dirt. No, why did it? Seems like this changed when I entered play mode. Oh, okay, I think I know. It's just because the tune ramp isn't exactly white, so that's why this isn't completely white either. Oh, I want to go into the scene so I can move it around. I think. Or is this like the specular? Seems like I messed something up somewhere along the way. Okay, I think the ambient color was too bright for one. I don't know, Ekdana still looks fine, but it seems like specular highlight is too strong on here? I don't know. Trying to get the specular to show up. Oh, there it was for a bit. Oh, I think the issue is just because since this is pure white, it's like reflecting the light's color too much, so I can't actually... Oh, excuse me. I can't see the specular highlight that much. Are you trying to make another egg? Not right now, I'm just going to... this is just a test object that I'm going to just place on the dirt, because I'm going to try and make little pebbles. Okay, yeah, you can see what's going on better now if I change the color. I'm still not completely used to how this tune shader works, so... excuse me if I play around with it sometimes, but yeah, I think everything is in order. Anyway, so what I was trying to do is I just want to try and deform this into something that's kind of like a pebble. Yeah. Where? Okay, I'm trying to get an idea of the size. Okay, that's fine. And now if I just copy component, and when I press play, everything will reset, and you could just paste component values. But I'll zero out the position again. 1 second, my voice is giving out. Alright. Okay, so I'll just place this. Let's just create a new folder. Test pebble. I guess there's no real reason to keep around this material, so this will just be the test pebble material. And I'll move this down here, and then add this prefab. Okay, and so this test pebble. Okay, we can call it dirt pebble, I guess. I'll just add it to the asset bundle. Okay, and so now I need to figure out how I want to let mods. Oh yeah, there's a couple other things I need to do here. I did do that, except I need to allow mods to specify minimum occlusion strength, or I guess minimum occlusion value. And then per either global or per prototype, I'm not sure yet. And then I need to figure out how mods will decide, like signal certain doodads to spawn. Right now I'm gonna try and go pretty simple. I think in the future I want mods to be able to have a lot of control over exactly where doodads spawn, but okay, so first let's think how data will happen. Like I can't create the models immediately during map generation, so I'll need to be able to store information about it. Which I created those map objects yesterday. I guess the question is, what information do I need to store about it? So for sure I just need the model index. And then it needs to be attached to some block. So that if the block ever changes, the doodad will move with the block. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to do before this is I forgot. I want to test all this terrain stuff I've been doing with elevations. So let me see. Let's set 2, 2. Yeah, I guess the second layer. I'm not doing this correctly, actually. Actually, let's just make a hill on each quadrant. Oops. Okay, I don't cycle per quadrant here, actually. So 0, or no, it would be 1 to 4. Because again, Lua starts with 1 instead of 0. So start, okay, I don't have to give it a type either. So start column will be Q modulo 2 times 4. And then the start row will be Q divided by 2 times 4, except since this is a float, I need to call math floor on this. Okay, so now I have the start column and row for each quadrant, so I want to create a hill at second layer, and then 1 block n. So prototype equals, I guess I need to get the index. Let's oh wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Well, I guess we can just use it as the same terrain type as the base block. So this is a bit messy. Okay, let's change that because I don't feel like retyping those. So basically this just means it's going to set the block above the base at this position to the same type. Let me see if that works. I think I can get rid of these objects while I'm in here. It finishes compiling. Okay, there's a script error. Expected to close at line 21. Okay, I kept on getting rid of that parenthesis. I don't know why. I did have that trouble where I accidentally backspaced, so it's probably my fault. Same thing. Block out of bounds at 23. Probably again just missing a parenthesis or something. Oh wait, no, this is saying that this block is out of bounds. Like, not the script, but when I try to get this block, it's out of bounds. Okay, so print C row, and these dot dot, that's just how you add strings together in Lua. Okay, so 4 0 0 4 4 4 and 0 8. So yeah, so this should start at 0, and again it's just because Lua starts with 1 that's confusing me. So I need to actually do Q minus 1 for each of these. Okay, there we go. Okay, well it is working, but actually I should move this one over so that's not on top of the spawning position. Although I thought I already did that because I added 1, so let's add 1 here. Probably, again, it's 1 minus 0 indexes. That's better. Okay, you might be seeing the shadow there. That's actually different than the occlusion that I just added. It's from the camera's ambient occlusion effect. I keep going back and forth as to whether I like it. I do kind of like how it adds shadows around the feet of the monsters, but I don't... Well, I guess it's kind of nice because otherwise it's really hard to see the hills. Yeah, I think we're just gonna need to work on the train. I might need to have, yeah, that actual height of the train be a complete gradient down instead of just the bump. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Anyway, let's add some more here. So the next one I want to be even higher. And then we'll add someone surrounding it like I did before. Okay, so if I have... This block is too high, I want... Okay, so I had 1 minus 1, but that's not gonna work, is it? Okay, so maybe I shouldn't add the row there. Okay, so now these two are raised. And I want this one to be raised, so that's 1 column minus row, and then that one, same column plus row. Okay. Oh, but it's based on here, so... Yeah. And then the next one is this one, so same column and then add a row. Alright. Okay, I wanted this one to be raised, actually. What's going on at that edge? I think it's just the occlusion that looks weird. Nice. Look at it. Yeah, the occlusion just doesn't do well at these corners in general. Yeah, so I might end up not using it. Oh yeah, and then we have the weird shadows again. Okay, well actually I don't mind having this one here because it does give a wide range of different slope types. Okay. I think I keep getting hung up on it just looking so plain, but... and flat. But I guess it is just supposed to be dirt. It is hard to see, like if I turn off the occlusion, it's pretty much impossible to see the different elevations unless you get at a certain angle. Guess we'll need to play around with that. I think the best way to do that would just be that the higher you go, the lighter the block is. Or I could somehow have... another way to make it better is that if the cliffs themselves were more distinct, which I have been wanting to do. Anyway, let's get back to doodads for now. We only have a little bit of time left, but I could do some work on them. Now, I'm just gonna say... yeah, doodad is just some model that's associated with a specific terrain block, and it doesn't really have any gameplay uses. So I don't really know if I want to make a whole nother object for them, or if I just want to give the... or store the information here. So I could have like the block, the owner ID, be the block that this doodad is associated with, and then I'd still need to have something like model ID, or I just call it model, because I think the game data already has a list of models, doesn't it? Yeah, models. So I could do this. The other option would be I'd have like a doodad class. I guess if a doodad ever has more than just this information, I'd probably have a separate class. But I think for now this will be okay. Okay, so now I need to have some way to spawn them. So I want scripts themselves to be able to create a doodad, and then also I want them to automatically spawn with terrain. I think I'll do the first one for now, because if it's when to make the scripts be able to create a doodad, I need to, well, at the same time I might as well update how the map generation script works, and that will kind of cascade into a lot of other projects, because like we've been seeing there's errors with map generation, exception handling right now that I need to fix. But let's... and then allow mods to manually create doodads during the map generation. Well, at any time really, but specifically at this time. What else did I want to do? Oh, I already did this, but I changed it to map object. Yeah, and then map our doodad spawning support. This is kind of what's the word? Redundant, but alright, okay, so first I guess I'll create the class that will actually spawn these doodads. It won't actually be part of the terrain mesh. So play UI, no that's not right, it's during the map. We'll just have another class, and this will be the doodad model creator. And it'll kind of be the same as this monster model creator. Now that I think about it, like some of this logic will be the same, except I guess doodads will never have signals. No, that's not true. They could be animated. Alright, so how do I want to handle that? I guess I will need these. So many usings. Still more. We'll definitely won't have a collider. So basically, yeah, it's just this part. Maybe the models I can just have a... That's not... I don't know if I like that. Could just, in here, just have a helper function that would create a model. I usually don't like to have these data classes have helper functions, but I think it'll be okay for now. Let's grab this whole thing, actually. So create object, and we'll have the ID and the game object. Or I guess it shouldn't be created, it should be like register. Collider tag. Do I need to do that? I mean, I don't think so. This can go in here too, actually. But I just need to change it that if the map object collider... Like if there's no colliders in here, I don't need to have this either, so... bool has colliders equals game object. This will be a little bit inefficient, but we're not going to call this that often. Actually, is there already a has component? Okay, well. And if has colliders, we'll do this. I need to go ahead and define this object here. Okay, so now that's taken care of, and I can get rid of this. So models, add. Oh, did I make it private? Oh no. Oh, it says register, not add. Wait, how did I get the map ID? Oh, right there. Of course. Models, register object, map object ID, and then the game object. I mean, I really could just use this class to also do the doodads, but I think it might be useful to have them separate. Okay, so anyway, if this is a doodad, then we'll want to create the doodad. And all I need to do here is actually use the map objects model variable. And then we just call register object. Okay, and what? I guess that's true. We need to know its position and rotation. So I guess that is more information that we have to store, but I mean, is it okay? I mean, a map object would have that information anyway, so maybe it's fine to store it in here. It's just for monsters, we won't actually use it. I don't know, I don't like that because this positions and stuff would never be updated except after it. Well, yeah, it's never updated, period. It's only used to be its initial position. Okay, yeah, so I'll need to think about that. But I think I'm out of time now. So yeah, over lunch I'll try and figure that out. And then tomorrow, hopefully we'll get some little pebbles spawning. Let me comment this out. Just so that the game will actually run. But yeah, I think that's it for me for today. Thanks everybody for coming out and watching. We did have quite a few people, so yeah, thanks. I'm glad. I hope you liked it. Yeah, I'm gonna continue working on the terrain for a while, I think. Trying to get it to look real nice, and I think once I add doodads, it's gonna make a big difference. I also need to do like the edge of the world and the skybox. That might be another thing that's making it look unfinished. And we'll finish up the lighting, and then probably move on to some more actual gameplay. It's been a while since we've worked on that. But thanks everybody for coming by again. If you want to be notified when I go live, it should be around tomorrow at noon Eastern at the latest. I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be able to stream more often soon, but we'll see. Yeah, follow me here or on Twitter. I also have a YouTube channel where I upload all past broadcasts if you'd like to watch them and catch up, and a Discord channel if you'd like to chat with me throughout the day. I'll be sure to put links in chat, or you can check out my video description. And I think that's about it. I'll leave the stream up so you can play around with your avatars before you go, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.